So imagine this. It's 2 a.m. and you've been looking at those math equations that started to seem gibberish because you've looking through them the entire night trying to cram a bit more knowledge for the upcoming test. Your brains feel foggy, your eyes feel sluggish, and you fight against the ultimate monster of sleepiness. It's usual in basis, right? Well, what if I tell you that it's not because you're studying too hard, but it's about fighting an invisible force, the rhythm of your body and your nature? After reading an ancient Chinese scripture, namely the Daoist, I've realized that the key driving as a student lays in flowing with the Tao. And as the closest example, Tao is the invisible force that you're fighting against. And just a quick note before I start, that there is an ancient Chinese religion named Taoism, and that is based on Daoist ideologies. But the religion itself is not the focus of today. Instead, the ideology, the philosophy here is the focus. And so let's begin. First, what is Tao? Tao, by its literal translation, is just the road, but such literal translation is not so accurate. So we need to go back to the Daoist to find some original text to help support the definition. Well, in chapter 25, Lao Tzu said that Tao is the mother of all things, including us humans, and including the earth and the universe. And that he further elaborates, he further categorizes the world into 4 big hierarchies, namely humans, namely earth, and the universe, and Tao. And he said the relationship between them is that man models the way of earth models the way of heaven models the way of Tao, and Tao models the way of itself. And man is just us humans, earth is the ground that we stand upon, it's just earth. And heaven refers to the universe, and Tao is just Tao. One simple analogy to understand this is concentric circles, and that Tao is the biggest concentric circles that included heaven, that included earth, and that included men. And the phrase models the way of means that a smaller hierarchy would need to follow the rules of bigger hierarchy that it's in. And that, for example, man is the smallest category, and it was within Earth. And so on Earth, humans experience a constant 9.81 meters per second squared acceleration towards the center of Earth. And that in the universe, Earth experiences a centripetal force towards the sun, and that it keeps it in the orbit going on and on and on. Think of human history as well. According to the theory of evolution, since we evolved from monkeys, and then we're Homo sapiens, and then we're humans. That history might seem long, but if you put that history into Earth's history, you'll realize that humans' history is such a small part of it. But if you put Earth's history into universe's history, since the Big Bang till now, then that Earth's history is still a small portion of that. And it goes on and on and on. So what this tells us is that each hierarchy is within the bigger ones, and that it develops within the bigger ones, and so it must follow the law of the bigger ones that it is in. But then the last phrase, Tao models the way of itself. How does that work? How does Tao works? Well, in chapter 3 and chapter 37, Lao Tzu raised a concept named Wu Wei, and that is non-forced action with alignment with things' internal laws. That is the basic fundamental logic of law. That's how Tao works. It makes things to be the way they are. And there's a quote that says, "To know the origin is to understand the essence." And I believe this is why Lao Tzu chose to write about Tao, because as he said that Tao is the origin of everything, understanding it will help us understand the essence of everything as well. Problems in our life works the same. Going back to the example that I began my speech with, where we're studying overnight, we're trying to cram knowledge. Well, what does understanding Tao help us deal with that situation? In your body, there's a circadian clock that secretes hormones, and that tells you when to go to sleep, when to awake. And if you're choosing to study overnight, that means you're disobeying your own body, disobeying the rhythm of your body. And so that you're disobeying Tao, you're disobeying Wu Wei. And so a solution that lies with the flow of Tao is simply to, for example, sleep early and matches the circadian clock, and that, if possible, you could wake up early to study as well. Scientific studies also show that if you choose to stay up late and study and not go to sleep, that could make your brain function not as well the next day, and that you might not recall memories as better. And so I believe a clear mind is much more important than those bits of knowledge that you crammed the night before the test. And that's why I believe Dao, understanding Dao, is essential to our life. It gave us a different perspective to the problems that we face in our life and how we can solve them, how we encounter them. And that's the end of my speech. Thank you.